Mogul Motivation, empowering and inspiring entrepreneurs and dream chasers worldwide, 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media. And I am your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mogul Motivation. Welcome back. I'm happy that you are here. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is for the aspiring entrepreneur trying to get over that hump and make things happen. This podcast is for anybody with a dream that wants to go forward and accomplish that dream. This is episode 465, and you don't get to 465 episodes without first recording episode 1. And you don't get to 100 episodes without recording 99 episodes, and so on and so on. The underlying theme of Mogul Motivation for me has been consistency, right? And the same goes for everything in life. You know, you don't write a novel without first writing the first word, the first sentence, the first paragraph, the first page. Then it becomes a novel. You don't rise up the ranks in your career without that entry-level position. You know, you don't get to 1,000 steps unless you take that first step. Every single journey has to begin somewhere, regardless of how long you have been doing it, regardless of how proficient you have become in doing it. Everything starts somewhere. You know, you want to lose weight, you have to start by getting in the gym for that first day, and you have to build that consistency. I was having a conversation with someone that battled alcoholism for 3 years. And after 3 years, this person decided that they had enough and that they would go sober, that they were going to defeat this addiction. And this person was sober for quite some time. But unfortunately, life got to him, and all of that consistency that he built up all in his sobriety was shattered because of one sip of alcohol. The moment he took that sip of alcohol, all that consistency was erased. And he was right back at square one. Now, the good news is this individual once again defeated that addiction and has to this day been sober. That's the good news. So that consistency had built up a stronger endurance within his spirit to where he didn't crack and he didn't fold. Consistency is what gets us from A to B. Consistency is what separates the real from the fake. Consistency is what separates the professionals from the imposters. Consistency shows you what you are serious about and what you care about. But what good is it to be consistent in some areas of your life and not consistent in other areas of your life? This is what I had to challenge myself and ask myself recently. I'm consistent when it comes to Mogul Motivation. I'm consistent when it comes to this business. I'm consistent with the things that I want, but I'm not consistent with everything in my life, and I have not been consistent with everything in my life. And I will submit to you that is why my life is not where I wanted to be yet, because I'm consistent in some areas, but I'm not consistent in all areas. You see, you could be consistent with some things, but you could still be wishy-washy with other things. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that on this episode, it doesn't matter how many things you are consistent with. You have to start looking at the things that you are not consistent with and ask yourself, why aren't you consistent in those things? Why aren't you consistent in your love life? Why aren't you consistent with giving back? Why aren't you consistent with being a good friend? Why aren't you consistent with this, but you are consistent with that? Why are you consistent with that, but you're not consistent with this? Once you make the change in your life to be consistent in every realm and everything that you are involved in, everything you are engaged in, it is at that point that you will get to another level. I'm talking about a whole nother level. I'm not just talking about another level financially. I'm talking about another level of happiness, another level of peace, another level of joy. But you have to be consistent in every single thing. It does no good to be consistent in one thing, but you're inconsistent in 10 more areas of your life. We have to be consistent to the best of our ability, ladies and gentlemen. 465 episodes of Mogul Motivation is great. I'm proud of myself. You look at that portfolio, you see, oh, this man is a real podcaster. He ain't just no pandemic podcaster on here because he's bored. He does this for a living because he's passionate about it. That's good. But there are other areas of my life that I have not been consistent with. Other areas that I've been struggling in. Other areas that I have challenges in. And I have to be consistent in those areas too if I want to be the best version of Antoine Twiz Taylor. And I challenge you to be consistent to the best of your ability in everything in your life also. You have to be a consistent parent. You have to be a consistent spouse. Yeah, that's great that you bring it into money and you consistent in business. But what about your home life? What about your mental health? What about your self-health? What about your prioritization for your self-care? You're not consistent in those things, and that's why you're not as happy as you want to be and as you need to be. Distractions are real. There's always going to be something or somebody that's going to pull your attention. But at the end of the day, you have to remain dedicated to yourself and what you want in your life. And how do you get what you want out of life? You get there by consistency. And it all starts with that one day. If you messed up in the past, that's okay. We're human. We're all going to mess up. We're all going to fumble. We're all going to stumble. But it all starts with day one. Be consistent and intentional on that first day. Then come back on that second day. Even if you can't give the same effort that you gave on day one, still give effort on day two. Still give effort on day three. Still give effort on day four. Then it's going to become a habit. It's going to become second nature. You're going to be intentional with it. You're going to be dedicated to it. And you're not even going to be thinking about it. You're not going to do the mental hula hoops over it because you are becoming consistent. You have built up that endurance. It is a habit. It is routine for your life. And when things become routine for your life in all areas of your life, you become well-rounded. You become a machine that cannot be stopped. A motivational, positive machine. And you're going to be the best self for you. You're going to be the best self for your team members. You're going to be the best self for your company, for your business, for your career, for your family, for your children, for your spouse, for everybody that's connected to you. You are going to be the best self that you can be. That is how we change the ecosystem around us. But it all starts with that consistency. So that's my message this week, everybody. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. Consistency is what separates us from the pretenders, from the imposters. And that's what gets us from A to B. Build up that consistency and that endurance right now. All it takes is the first step. It doesn't have to be a perfect step. It doesn't have to be a great step, but it got to be a step. Make the decision to go in the right direction in whatever you are struggling with in your life where you see the inconsistencies. So if this podcast has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, ask for two things as always. Number one, please leave a 5-star review. And number two, pass it on to a friend who will benefit from it as well. Have a great day. I'll talk to you next week.